Bickley and Marotta Mornings. Arizona Sports. The local sports leader. Bickley Blast.
Valley sports fans had quite the split-screen experience on Tuesday. The Diamondbacks were in New York, facing the team they beat for our only major professional championship a quarter century ago. And in Milwaukee, the Suns were facing the team that rallied from a 2-0 deficit in the NBA Finals, breaking our hearts for the umpteenth time. In a fitting display, the Diamondbacks won in dramatic fashion, while the Suns are being credited for trying hard in a 10-point loss. And today, there is little comparison between the two. The Diamondbacks have become our most competent franchise. They have a clear hierarchy at the top and one of the best GMs in the game, a GM who is attempting to defy the monopolistic Dodgers with a team full of stars and young players locked up well into the future. Meanwhile, the Suns are about to hit an embarrassing new low. If they miss the play-in tournament, they will be remembered as one of the greatest disappointments in league history. They're going to attempt a rally and rebuild around Devin Booker that will be successful only if the owner first fires himself as general manager. And just imagine the bragging rights and the corresponding shame if the Dbacks get a second championship before the Suns or Cardinals get their first in Arizona. All right, today's Bickley Blast brought to you by my great friends at Chapman BMW, who make luxury attainable. Find them online at chapmanbmw.com.
I was just proud of the way we fought. We just kept, hanging in there. We made some mistakes that put us in the situation that we were in, but today the word that sticks out is resilience, and our guys just hung in there. We got the big hit clearly by Gino that made the difference in the game.
Obviously missing a few guys. But, every team goes through that. I think every team's margin for error is small, but, you're missing, a couple of your big guys. I do think the margin for error gets a little smaller, I think the philosophical approach, a lot of it stays the same. Guys just got to go play basketball, make good plays on both ends.
Yeah, that was both of the coaches, the manager of the Diamondbacks, Torey Lovello, talking about resilience, Mike Budenholzer talking about a small margin of error. Yeah, and there's truth in that. But, we're talking about two different teams, two different sports, two different periods in the season.
Mm-hmm.
But kind of pivoting off your blast, the Arizona Diamondbacks have shown more fight the last 2 eighth innings than the Phoenix Suns have shown in the last
2 months.
3
well
months.
Played. That's right. The 2 straight eighth-inning eruptions by the Diamondbacks. That's a good call. Yeah, listen, I think when you put the two teams up against each other, there are two teams going in opposite directions right now. And props to the Diamondbacks for being who they are at this stage of the game. It could be, very daunting going up against the Dodgers, who, as Vinny correctly said, are not going to lose a game this year.
No, they're on pace.
They're on pace to go 162-0. They're already 7-0.
Mookie Betts weighs 85 pounds and he's hitting home runs.
Yeah.
It's the stupidest statement that could actually happen.
Right. It's the dumbest thing ever, but it could actually happen. And credit to Mike Hazen and this team for making it interesting under the most difficult of circumstances. Right? Stop yawning, Jared! Wake up, Jared!
The Diamondbacks are off to a 3-2 start. They're in 4th place in the division.
I know. Listen, like I said earlier,
the Padres aren't losing either.
1 game into the season, the D-backs were 2 games out of first place. That'll never happen again.
The Padres have given up 9 runs in 6 games.
Yeah, and yes.
Is anybody using the torpedo bat against the Padres,
right.
for goodness sake?
Exactly.
Like, we knew this going into the season. We knew what division they were in. We knew who they were up against. And we knew that even with all that, the Diamondbacks had a chance because of how they're run, because of how they're managed, and because of their roster construction.
Yep. All those things. So, and I think last night was a good night for the baseball team to get through a little bit of adversity. Corbin Burns' uneven starts, more sloppy defense, not getting any hits for the first 6+ innings of that game.
Mm-hmm. Well, it went through a similar situation on Sunday against the Cubs in the finale where the bats just kind of quieted down.
Mm-hmm.
And this happened even last year for stretches when they were the top offense. It's the nature of the game. But to have that happen 2 days in a row and for them to snap out of it, you can be discouraged initially, but very encouraged with the way that they were shut down. There was nothing going on.
Right.
And when you cough away the lead due to an error, a lot of teams are going to pack it in at that point.
At that point in time.
That, to me, is the most concerning thing so far is the lack of sharpness all over.
Right.
And, we talked yesterday about not being able to get bunts down. Base running mistakes. It cost them a game on Saturday with Garrett Hampson. Rounding third base a little too far, getting off the bag, and Dansby Swanson making a great play. But the D-backs have played 5 games. They've had 1 errorless game so far. 1. One of their hallmarks is defense. That's what
there's no doubt.
Torey Lovullo preaches. So I think it will get better, but, man, it has not been a strength so far.
And yet it was not an easy night to play baseball. It was 50 degrees at the start. It was in low 40s by the time it ended. That's a grind. You've got to be mentally strong to stage comebacks in New York, in Yankee Stadium under those conditions. And let's put a little context on Gino Suarez. Let's put a little respect on his name, Vinny. All right, I snagged these stats from Nick Picoro's game story today, so I don't want to make it seem like I did all the legwork. But anyways, Gino Suarez, his home run, 2 outs in the 8th inning, 2-2 count, goes deep, 24 home runs in his past 77 games. That was in the last 77 games. I think that was the end of last year. And since July 3rd of 2024, Gino Suarez is hitting .309 with 29 home runs and 80 RBI. Only Aaron Judge has more homers. Only 4 other players have a higher OPS in that time frame. And he's the 3rd player since 1900. 3rd player since 1900 where the first 5 hits of a season are all home runs. You know who else is on that list? Rob Deere.
That makes perfect sense.
Yes, it does.
Who was the third guy?
I have to go look it up.
Oh, okay. You know when Gino Suarez hit his 5th home run last year? June 6th. In the 62nd game of the year.
Yeah. Have we ever seen a guy, a free agent who came to Arizona, or an acquisition who came to Arizona and got off to such a horrible first half of his stay in Arizona to the point where people wanted him gone and then suddenly became indispensable, became an all-time slugger or an all-time kind of performer?
That's a tough one.
It is. I don't know what the answer to that is.
Yeah, because normally when a free agent acquisition or a trade acquisition comes to Arizona and they struggle immediately, they just falter in the face of this harsh media.
Yeah.
In this brutal media town.
Yeah, that'd be like Bradley Beal averaging 70 points for the rest of this season.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, 70 points.
Well, hold on to your hats, Jarrett.
Yeah.
I'd be back in.
Yeah, it was a good win because the Yankees were feeling themselves a little bit after that first. They were one of the talks of the entire sport with what they did against Milwaukee.
Yep.
And to be able to beat them, slow them down to a degree, even when you weren't your sharpest. Corbin Burns wasn't his sharpest. The defense wasn't the sharpest. And we mentioned not getting a hit from the 3rd inning to the 8th inning. That'll hamper your chances to win. And they just found a way. And resilience has certainly stood out these last 2 games for the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, so per Jarrett's contention that maybe Gino Suarez is due for a hard fall at some point because of baseball's evening out powers, which are very true. Gino Suarez said that last July when he was batting around 200, he changed his pregame routine. He practiced faster and harder. He took reps that were more game-like. Also said he shortened his swing, an adjustment that is still continuing to this day. So, and I do remember that. I do remember when Gino was struggling, there were some whispers about maybe the team didn't like his prep, thought maybe it was a little soft, a little lazy. Mm-hmm. And he's basically admitting, yeah, I got after it a little harder. And I changed my swing, made it much more compact, and here we are.
He had 6 home runs through June last year, the whole month of June, and then from July 1st on, hit 24 and 5 now. Just an amazing run he's on.
Really is.
They'll try to keep it going tonight. Second game of that series from Yankee Stadium was Zach Gallen on the mound. Of course, you can hear it here on Arizona Sports 98.7 and the Arizona Sports app.
Thanks for watching Bickley and Murata. Click to see the latest Bickley Blast and hit the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.